Hello everyone, this is Mike with a two-way report. If you live in the communist state of California and you love your guns, then you're probably well aware of the state's restrictions on high-capacity mags, assault weapons, and ammo purchase background checks. In this video, I will cover the 3 cases filed against the state of Fornia, all of which challenge the state's prohibition on large-capacity magazines, assault weapons, and ammunition background check restrictions. These cases are Duncan V. Bonta, Miller v. Bonta, and Roadie V. Bonta. As there appears to be some ambiguity regarding certain timelines, I believe it's appropriate for me to provide a brief update. Additionally, there have been noteworthy developments regarding an order issued by Judge Benitez on these cases that are worth discussing. I won't delve into the procedural history of these cases in detail. If going through all that information sounds appealing to you, you can refer to one of my previous videos on the subject. But just for the purposes of this video, what's important to know is that the cases have already been presented and have progressed to the Ninth Circuit. After Judge Benitez initially declared the magazine ban, assault weapons ban, and ammunition restriction to be unconstitutional, the Supreme Court's ruling on New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen prompted a review of these cases by Judge Benitez. They were subsequently sent back to him for re-evaluation in light of the Bruen decision. All of these cases were remanded primarily due to the Ninth Circuit's prior utilization of the two-step and interest balancing approaches, both of which were explicitly invalidated by the Supreme Court in Bruen. Consequently, these California cases are essentially commencing anew, owing to the Bruen decision. The cases were all returned to Judge Benitez, who is making every effort to resolve them expeditiously. In the Duncan and Miller cases, California authorities made several attempts to extend the proceedings as far as possible, frequently requesting that Judge Benitez postpone the cases until at least mid-2023. Despite Judge Benitez's rejection of those attempts, the state of California persisted in requesting additional time. The culmination of these events occurred on December 12th of last year, when hearings were held before Judge Benitez for all 3 of these cases along with the California Billy Club case. All of these cases were addressed in a single hearing before Judge Benitez, after which he instructed the state of California to provide him with a spreadsheet of all laws and regulations enacted that pertain to the cases within 30 days. The spreadsheet Judge Benitez has directed the state of California to assemble should contain all available historical evidence within a 30-day timeframe. The plaintiffs will subsequently have a 30-day window to challenge those instances, followed by a 10-day period for both parties to file a response if desired. In essence, these cases have been held in a queue for an additional 70 days, despite California's desire for a longer delay. However, Judge Benitez has limited the extension to just 70 days. As a result, the deadline for the 30-day response to the spreadsheet was on Friday, February 10th, with the replies due on Monday, February 20th. If memory serves, last February 20th of this year, the full 70-day period has expired, and all documents should have been submitted to Judge Benitez. California residents are currently playing the waiting game and await Judge Benitez's ultimate ruling on these cases. A few of you have asked why Judge Benitez provided more time when it was very unlikely that he was going to. My best assumption is that he had to do it to preempt some of the arguments that the state of California might raise on appeal. The state of California has indicated in past briefs that they intend to argue to the Ninth Circuit that there was a procedural error or that they needed more time to produce the evidence requested by Bruen. It is my belief that Judge Benitez provided extra time to lessen some of the arguments that are expected to arise when the state of California decides to appeal these decisions. One other notable development in these cases is that Judge Benitez has ordered California to submit a 5-page brief by this Friday. The brief is expected to identify the most suitable historical regulation that is analogous and significantly smaller to a statewide prohibition on owning a firearm with the features listed in the bans. The requirement of filing an additional 5-page brief applies to the Miller ban on so-called assault weapons, as well as the Roadie case that deals with a statewide background check for buying ammunition, and the Duncan V Bonta magazine ban case, which pertains to a statewide prohibition on the possession of ammunition devices or a limit on the amount of ammunition. Judge Benitez has ordered California to identify the best historical regulation that is a proper analog and relevantly similar to these cases. Judge Benitez's order essentially compels California to present their strongest arguments and evidence in a concise 5-page brief rather than relying on irrelevant or frivolous arguments. This directive serves to streamline the case and prevent the state from making unnecessary or weak arguments. Pundits believe it will be difficult, if not impossible, for California to find historical evidence to support their position, so there is a possibility that they may resort to presenting discriminatory laws, which they have used previously, as their arguments. California already presented discriminatory laws as their best evidence for the legality of these current bans in the upcoming 5-page briefs. They have already included these types of laws in the spreadsheet they submitted to Judge Benitez, so it would not be surprising if they reappear in the briefs. I'm curious to know what historical evidence the state of California will provide in the Miller, Roadie, and Duncan cases. What specific laws, statutes, or cases will they present as the most compelling evidence for the prohibition of magazines, so-called assault weapons, and the ammunition background check system? The 5-page brief will answer these questions, and I'm waiting with bated breath to know which laws and cases California will rely on to support their restrictions. Personally, I don't believe they can present any historical evidence to support the state's current actions. Another common inquiry people make is how individuals can prepare for the Miller and Duncan rulings in practice. To prepare for the Miller decision, my only recommendation at the moment would be to have additional accessories in stock, ready, just in case a favorable decision is issued, and there is a pretty good chance the decision will be favorable. Consider purchasing some of the most expensive, easily accessible standard accessories that can be easily swapped out. If Judge Benitez strikes down the assault weapons ban, it is likely that the state of California will seek an immediate stay from the Ninth Circuit. Essentially, there may only be a brief period of time for firearm modifications if Judge Benitez strikes down the assault weapons ban and a stay request is made by California to the Ninth Circuit. However, it's important to note that the window for modifications will likely be short-lived due to the state's likely appeal of the decision. And it's for this reason that my practical advice for preparing for the Miller decision is to have inexpensive firearm accessories readily available. In regards to the Duncan magazine case, my suggestion would be to ensure that you have financial stability and reserve some funds in case the verdict favors the plaintiffs. And there is another period of freedom to purchase magazines without restrictions, like a Freedom Week. In addition, it would be helpful to research which stores and websites were successful during Freedom Week, since many gun stores and online retailers did not prioritize or even refuse to serve California residents. It would be wise to research and identify which gun stores and websites are reliable and will ship to California residents. Some businesses may prioritize California orders during this time, so it's important to find out which ones these are. As the window for purchasing during Freedom Week may be brief, being well-informed and having a plan in place could be beneficial. And that is the current status of the 3 cases, Miller, Duncan, and Roadie. And those are the practical steps that you can take to prepare for the potential outcomes of these cases, such as having extra accessories for your firearm and being financially prepared, and doing research on websites and gun stores that prioritize delivery to California residents. So, things are really looking up for our friends in commie Fornia who are advocates of the people's right to keep and bear arms. But if you don't live in that commie state and you know of people who do, please spread awareness by sharing these videos with them. And that's all the time I have for you today. Admittedly, there's so much more to these cases than we can possibly fit in an 8-minute video. If you like this type of content, please help our channel grow by clicking on the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Thanks, and have a good one.